even something that we can't quantify. This is just like kind of opinion based, right? So the reason I asked that because we elected Donald Trump or whatever. So maybe there's an argument there, but I just don't get the argument for Adolf Hitler being charismatic.
Well, real quick, one thing. So, Just, how do you think Trump got his popularity in the 80s?
He wasn't. We already discussed this. He wasn't popular. I'm from New York, and y'all gotta stop.
All right, we will come back to that, but I want to see if I can get back to Stephen Bader's little Republican powwow. Because now I will live stream them. Jesus, that's it. Let's see if we can find Stephen Bader. What the fuck? So if you go to spaces on X, it only shows me 2 fucking spaces. Why doesn't it show me all the available spaces? Oh, I think I actually, maybe they blocked me. See, this guy's getting a ton of views. I get no views. I get no views at all. Oh, he's gonna put you on his Instagram. Kick him! Kick him! Okay, I can't find it.
One mic at a time. One mic on CEO.
Alright, so just my straightforward summary is Art of the Deal, #1 New York Times bestseller in '87. Oprah, David Letterman, Larry King regularly, licensing deals in movies, in hip hop songs, and people have been asking him to run for president since '88. So that isn't status to you? Or if it's not, I just want to know what your standard is.
No, not to me, but maybe my standards are a little too high. I think that's the goofiest, most gullible, most easily impressed. Like, ooh, yeah, ooh. Like, so the fuck what? Nigga, you got all these New Yorkers telling you that we didn't give a fuck about him. Nobody was impressed, but I guess y'all was impressed, so my bad.
So 35% of the country was impressed.
Okay. So to what Just was saying, it is correct that us New Yorkers, we were really not impressed by Donald Trump. And I remember growing up, I'm a little older, so, I remember I'm just a tad better. I believe that he had money and power, and that is until 1997 when I started working at Deutsche Bank, and in '98 that's when he came in, and this dude, he had to get his whole loan situation. Deutsche Bank was already in America, so I know somebody said that they were trying to get an American establishment. They were, wait, hold on, I got you. But Deutsche Bank was already in America. They were there many years before I got there, which was in 1997. And so Deutsche Bank, I remember when it all happened, and I laughed. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is broke. I laughed. We were all laughing. So we knew a lot of details about his account, but that I can't really talk about. But I'm trying to tell you, the dude was broke. And forget the fact that there was an illusion outside. New Yorkers did not have an illusion about him, but we thought he did have power. That's all we knew. We didn't know that was a lie too.
Can someone clarify?
Yo, Roy, is it? I'm sorry, school, I got you. Go ahead.
So the American
When
people,
has that been?
it's a negative, it's zero summation. And I think Elon Musk is just spiraling because he's mad. It's like, it's the equivalent. Look, adults get mad, we curse, we argue, we use bad words, we call each other fucktards, cultists, whatever, right? Elon is acting like a toddler and he's throwing a tantrum. And I like the guy's contributions to society, but this ain't it. Like, do I agree that there's severe problems with the Republican Party? Fuck yeah, I'm the first one to throw bombs at them all day long. And I do it for sport. I genuinely enjoy it. But you're missing the point here that we're putting a lot more at risk other than just settling petty grievances that we might have with the GOP and walk the entire government back into the Democrats' hands. It seems self-destructive and counterintuitive to everything I believe in as far as political values. And I hope you can rethink your position here, Brian. You seem like you're a well-articulated young man, and you can see what I'm talking about here.
Oh, now he's gonna call you a cultist for sure.
Hang on.
He also said on his timeline he wants Scott Presler out of a job.
Hang on, guys. Kessler, yeah, that is true, because there's so many people that just make a debate off of just being partisan. I say this is the same thing that people that all they do are they're in a fucking left-wing cult, and they just have... Brian, shut the fuck up, man.
Brian,
That's
I
the
have a
dumbest stuff
question.
I've ever read.
I have a question.
Because
This is
like...
Julie, why
Brian, you think that people should not, hold on, Louis. Brian, you think that people should not be allowed to work in politics as consultants, so therefore you believe that campaigns shouldn't really be allowed to raise money? So is that what you're getting at, that we're not supposed to be able to advertise, do any media with campaigns, that people are supposed to find out about all this on their own and then come and decide if we or as parties are not allowed to promote candidates? That's exactly what you're getting to by stating that, like, people shouldn't be volunteering their time or taking donations. You're like all this is donation money toward these PACs. So you're saying that people should never be in the business of getting others to engage in their civic duty to go vote. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, what I'm trying to say is that people that worship political parties are going to be out of a job, because partisanship is going to be dead, and the two-party system is going to be completely broken.
You are
All right. How are you going to break the two-party system? Like, your genius is obviously superior to all of ours in this room. Okay, you're saying it's about to be broken. I've been a firm supporter of Ron Paul. I pushed back against John McCain's nonsense. How do you suppose this is going to happen, Brian? How do you suppose people are just going to go with the socialist policies of Elon Musk and H-1B visas? Is that what you're proposing here? We're just going to flood America with cheap foreign labor? Is that, you think that's what people want? Are you really serious right now? Like, what planet do you live on where Trump supporters are going to want to flood America with H-1B visas. In fact, all the Trump supporters have been pushing back feverishly against Brooke Rollins for even suggesting that we might ignore farms and hotels and restaurants with the ICE raids. We definitely don't want that. Trump has said as much. So how do you expect to get people away from the MAGA movement when we definitely want the ICE raids to continue and we do have a problem with all the H-1B visas? What's your plan to pull people away, Brian?
Well, first off, I think that you wouldn't feel so threatened about H-1B visas if there was more talent here at home. So rather than so worried about
That's a horrific.
He drank the Kool-Aid.
Wait, are you saying Americans aren't useful and we're lazy?
I'm saying that they would not feel so threatened.
Hey, Brian, you want to come back to his puberty and you got a deeper voice? I can't take you seriously,
Who
man.
thought you were more useful?
Brian, I have a question.
I have a sincere question for you, Brian. You say in your bio that you are pro one and
how do you
two-way. I put in the comments to this. How do you feel about Elon's post in 2022? Assault rifles should, at a minimum, require a special permit where the recipient is extremely well vetted, in my opinion. I mean, look, I don't believe you actually have an opinion on these things, Brian. I think you want to sound intelligent and you think that this is the way to do it. And furthermore, when you say that partisanship is going to go sideways and people like Presser will be out of a job, are you telling me that if Elon were to offer you a job as, I don't know, secretary of this anti-America party, you wouldn't deny the request? And the premise that you have Democrats who hate Trump, which you started off with, you said you have Republicans who that vote for America Party, you have Democrats that hate Trump that are going to go for the American Party. Can you show me a single Democrat that hates Trump but actually loves Elon, like other than the ones that have been given Cybertrucks for the influencers on this app? I mean, this is just acid. You're asking me to misbelieve my lying eyes.
Brian, let me ask you a question. Brian, can I ask you a question? What's your political affiliation? How do you politically identify today? What's your current political affiliation?
Politically homeless. I think that both parties that have deeply.
Okay, but I get that. But you give me like libertarian vibes. Is that off? Am I off there?
No, I would say that I have a lot of like libertarian tendencies. I think that that's probably.
Okay, so that kind of explains your entire anarchy approach to government and politics, because it's the only way to like understand where you're coming from. You're just pissed off.
But Brian,
Sure. You're moderate, but you're pissed off at the same time.
You're moderate but anti-party, so you'd have to be moderate within some kind of construct.
I think he's more anti-Trump. Because do I remember correctly, Brian? Did you vote for Kamala Harris?
No, I don't vote for her.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to care what Brian votes for. The point is, Brian, I would like to say something too, and
I just think he's
I
pissed
know
off.
George, let me say something, Brian, because there are a lot of people who think like him right now, and alienating them is not a good idea. Brian, what Elon needs to do with all his money, seriously, is, and I'm an old lady, 72 years old, my mom worked with Reagan, I even at one point was a liberal in my craziness, okay? I voted for Barack Obama because I hated John McCain. And that's the truth. So I'm willing to jump if I think it's worth jumping. However, that is before I did my deep dive and realized Barack Obama was a trained KGB agent through Frank Marshall Davis, okay? He was a KGB operative. He was in the Communist Party, absolutely. Go look it up, Diana West's book, Red Thread. Now, what I want to say to you today, and if you have any ties with Elon Musk, and Amuse on X wrote a wonderful article about this. Walter Kurt wrote a great article. The best way to go about this is to put his money and his effort into the candidates that he chooses into the House and create the America Caucus. So, like you have the Freedom Caucus, you can have an American caucus within the House of Representatives. Get enough people.
That's what Peter Thiel did.
Get enough.
Just call Peter Thiel.
And get enough people in there, and guess what? Your priorities will be listened to. You cannot, in a democratic constitutional republic, which is what we are. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Split up parties, and I mean add a third party. It hasn't worked historically, and guess what, dude? I would bet this ranch I'm standing on that it will never work. Now, go look up countries that have multi-party parliamentarian governments. Let's start with the UK. How well is that working out for them? Let's go into Canada. Same thing. Germany, Australia, all these countries have, Israel, all these countries.
Brazil,
yeah,
it's a shit show.
Yeah, they all have shit show governments, basically. And a bunch of whole unhappy people divided into fragments like you'd cut up a diamond. You have to have unity.
Coalition governments.
You have to have.
Miss Lou, coalition governments are all about
Yep, you have to have,
and you lose way more in
you're right, George, and the thing is you have to work within the constructs of the Constitution and the nation. Elon will never get a third party off the ground, but if he wants to have influence in American politics, which no, he won't. I'm telling you, and like I said, I bet this ranch, and I appreciate your thumbs down, I do. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but because he has gobs of money, he'd be real smart to put it in a way that would put people forward that he agrees with, okay? Let me give you another example. George Soros, basically, decades ago, captured the Democrat Party with the American Communists and Socialists, okay? And it was a goal. And they got into the local level, and they took up DAs and judges and all this, okay? He didn't need to create a third party to do what he did to the Democrat Party today. So what you have is anyway, I'm finished. I've taken up enough of my time. Tom, Margot, Julie, thank you so much for the time. George, I'm always with you, bro. Listen, try and think it through before you get on a space like this with people who've got a lot of experience in politics. Do not down Scott Pressler. He's trying to prevent things like Joe Biden from happening, okay? So, thank you very much.
Yay, Joe Pressler!
Respectful, thank you, Ms. Logan. I appreciate you, not like attacking me and lashing out like some of the other people in the space, and I appreciate this respectful discourse. And I just wanted to ask, is there anyone in the space that is not like hardcore MAGA that
Not that hardcore MAGA. I am ultra-based, super dark red.
Well, hold on, let him finish. Let him finish his question, dude. Calm down, Lewis. Please go ahead.
Seems like everyone that is like in strong opposition to this is just like a very hardcore kind of like MAGA part.
That's Brian. I'm MAGA, but I'm MAGA, but I'm somewhat moderate in a lot of my views. I actually get a lot of shit from some of these guys, especially on immigration all the time. So if you're gonna find someone who's somewhat very even-keeled, it's gonna be me. And I know that that's probably the most unlikely person you would expect. I'm very pro-Trump, and I think there's very few things that I differ with him on. Immigration is one of them on very specific instances. I am very pro-closed border